Kamloops is my home. It's where I got all my beginnings and my teachings, my knowledge from my grannies. When I was growing up, it was nothing to go outside early in the morning and weed, and we traded. Other people liked what we had, and so we traded with them.
Everybody had orchard trees. Everybody had a little garden and, some chickens, because they were self-sufficient and independent, because you couldn't afford to go to town. They only bought salt, sugar, flour, and tobacco. Everything else they grew or hunted for. I left here early, like after residential school. I was sent to Alberta. I came back in the 70s, and nobody had the orchards and the gardens anymore. Everybody was going to town to buy their food. Why aren't people growing their own food like we used to? It was so much healthier. What I see here today just makes my heart feel so good. And I'm seeing the kids up there harvesting, food. I never thought I'd see that. And it just makes me feel so happy to see that. And should I get some?
I'm also very, very excited to have the children be learning this here knowledge, because it is really important. Going inside to your place, it's really calm. And learning from the plants to be patient and to get what you need from everything around you.
A learning circle is a community visioning process to identify priority actions around a specific goal. And over the course of 18 months, 2 learning circles were held for Skellep School of Excellence on Tecumseh-Secwepemc and Skeetchestn Community School on Skeetchestn Indian Band. The goal of the learning circles was to support Indigenous food sovereignty within these 2 Secwepemc communities, starting with the community's youth. The circles were an opportunity to set a path forward to increase the amount of food in schools that is local, traditional, and healthy, while being reflective of local Indigenous cultural practices. What emerged from the learning circles was even greater. What started as a goal to increase food in schools became an ever-growing vision for a community food system that encompasses school health, education, food security, social development, economic development, and more.
I think Skeetchestn is in quite a unique position, being that we're a First Nations school, we're a small school, and I don't know of a lot of other places that have this degree of garden at the moment. But they now know that fruit and vegetables, how they grow, what does that seed need, and that just, it brings everything to life for them, literally. To me, if this would have been my school as a child, I think I would have really loved it, because gardening is part of human culture for thousands of centuries, and we're just drawn to it naturally.
It was just amazing watching those developments, like all the garden boxes, and seeing that from my window. Knowing that these children, the youth, were really participating and getting the teachings that they needed from the elders and the teachers. And that's how we inspire. It's our youth who are going to really tell us as adults we'll try harder in the gardening and the farming and providing.
Today's children are growing up in a changing world where crises exist that could interrupt our food system.
With the pandemic especially, we saw a lot of shortages in the grocery stores in terms of things that people could get, all the essentials, which is definitely sad, because if you look at what you can accomplish in your own backyard, that's probably the best thing that you can be working towards.
Especially, during the pandemic, when we've all realized the importance of having that connection and reconnection to our food supply. Not once do you ever see people go to a grocery store where they pick up a pepper and truly appreciate the work that went into growing that pepper. But with this initiative, you can see that engagement in our students and community members, that this is something of value. This is something to be proud of.
I like hands-on stuff, so if it's just art or something, I'm happy. But when it's the garden, it's funner because we're outside and we're doing a lot more different stuff than we usually do.
The thing that I like the most in the garden is being outside, because you get a lot of fresh air and you get a lot of sunshine.
I have a garden at home, and last year we overflowed with a lot of zucchinis and hushum.
I feel like in a store, it's in plastic and stuff, and that it just takes away the natural taste.
The Learning Circle, I was involved in both the one here and at Tecumloops. It really was an opportunity for everybody to brainstorm and get all those big picture ideas into more tangible step-by-step things. So all kinds of things came out of that. We talked about the need for a root cellar. We talked about the need for putting food by, and okay, we can grow it, but then how do we get it out to the community? The big picture included some animal systems, small animal systems, the chickens, which we're trying out as a pilot this year, outdoor processing facility with like a drying rack and maybe a smokehouse, and really getting the community more engaged.
The best way to know what is in your food is to be involved in its creation. The communities have really come together to work on increasing community food security. It's amazing to see what work is happening in one community is inspiring others.
I see a lot of more interest and participation as entrepreneurs, as they could be artisans, they could be agricultural growers, and so it's really nice to see more farmers are coming and wanting to start. Right across the board, what it means for economic development for us as Indigenous people and everybody in a region to be part of, the interior's economy. It's so important.
As I reflect on food security and food sovereignty, I think about how Skeetcheston is a leader. Now, our ancestors and our elders tell us back in the hungry 1930s, for Canada, they were hungry. For Skeetcheston, they were rich. The green gardens and green orchards. We've always known that the Tamiux, if we look after the Tamiux will look after our people.
The long-term goal that's coming from that is having more good food go back into the community. I know they're building a grocery store, but having like a long-term farmers market. I think there's a lot of really good ideas that have been approved, and I think they just need to continue working on them.
There is hope to create more jobs within this expanded food economy, and the future Indigenous supermarket at Tecumloops is another example of the momentum.
The Learning Circles really motivated people. They kind of saw the problem on a larger scale. They realized that the commonality between the communities, and it kind of ignited a fire to motivate them to work together. Each community now has their own community food sovereignty team. They have employees specifically dedicated to that work, which in the long run is going to make it more sustainable. It's not like they're reinventing the wheel over and over again.
The goal of increasing food sovereignty educational opportunities and training was identified as part of the community's vision. As a result, there are many new opportunities, including the newly established partnership with Thompson Rivers University to support Indigenous students in learning about agriculture, ranching, and Indigenous food sovereignty.
There is now a partnership between the Sustainable Ranching Program out of Thompson Rivers University and Tecumloops, as well as Skeetcheston, and it will teach you everything from soil health to business. All of this produce that's being grown is being put towards a good food box to give out to the community here at Tecumloops. And this is going to single mothers or people on disability, just people that need some good food in their life. I started out thinking I was going to be a logger. I realized that my main goal was do my little part to make this world better instead of degenerating it.
Especially with the pandemic, we didn't have students in the school at Skeetcheston, so there was so much produce that came out of that garden, and it all went to community.
This is what it's all about. It's talking together, it's sharing, it's doing projects together, meaningful things that really hit home where we work together as a people, not because you have a different race or language. It's having that collective goal.
For anyone wanting to get involved in the good work that we're doing with Indigenous food sovereignty, I highly recommend trying to get a hold of anyone at your local band office, either Skeetcheston or Tecumloops or here at Quempteen Health.
Get together. Start a garden. You can be the change that makes your community self-sufficient. Together, we can take steps towards decolonizing our food system and build a regenerative system for future generations.